Okay, I'm going to do a Throwback Thursday here on the way to work. I'm going to title this one, How to Turn a Simple Ticket into Getting Arrested for Assault on a Police Officer. Now, I was working day shift out of Eastern Division, Unit 46 John, in the Sierra Mesa area on Beat 46, which sits up on the mesa just above Jack Murphy Stadium where the Chargers play and the Padres play. At least that's what it used to be called. Now they call it something else. And on my beat, I had a lot of these little canyon areas that separated the streets. And all of those canyon areas, which are city property, were all posted, no off-road vehicle activity allowed because of fire dangers, with big giant signs. And it was been that way for years. Well, on the weekends I get called about this idiot on a dirt bike out there running around through the one particular canyon, raising a bunch of dust and upsetting all the neighbors and everything, wanting to enjoy their early morning coffee or sleep in late. I'd show up on the call, and of course the only way to get there was to drive down to the end of the cul-de-sac, get out of the car and walk out onto the trail. He of course would see my patrol car and see me, stop long before he got to where I was at, turn around and take off. Well, that went on for a couple of weeks and I never caught him. And I figured, okay, well, good enough, that ended the problem, right? Well, no, because then after a couple of weeks of that happening, he started coming back out again after my shift was over in the afternoon. We get the same call. So the sergeant calls me into his office and basically chews me out and says that I need to catch this guy. And that if I can't do it, they're going to have to call in the off-road team from the traffic division to get him. I said, okay, well, I got an idea. Just give me one more weekend and I'll see what I can do about it. Well, the next weekend rolled around, and sure enough, I get the call, so I go out there. But instead of driving down to the end of the cul-de-sac, I park about halfway up the block so he won't see my car. And I get out and I walk down to the end of the cul-de-sac and I hide behind a big old bush, crouch down. And I wait for him to come barreling up around through the trail he had made through there. I step out in front of him and make him stop. Well, he comes to a sliding stop and almost wrecks, but he didn't. I grab the handlebars, order him to turn the bike off. He does. I tell him to get off the bike and push it on the other side of the barricade onto the street, which he does. We put it down on the kickstand and we get to talking. I ask him if he's got a driver's license, registration, insurance, you know, all the regular stuff. Well, no, he doesn't have a driver's license because he's just a kid and he's off-roading. So he don't think he needs a driver's license, which, you know, back then it was true. If you were off-road, you didn't have to have a driver's license. I don't know if the laws are still the same today. And you didn't have to have a registration because it wasn't on the street, but you did have to have an off-road vehicle sticker, which he didn't have. And you didn't have to have insurance because it wasn't registered for the street. So that was all no big deal, you know. And he's arguing with me, you know, why did I stop him, blah, 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 all this crap. He's been riding there for years. And I point out the big giant sign to him. And I tell him that, you know, I've been getting calls for weeks about you, people are complaining. And since you turn around and take off and run from me, instead of getting a warning, you're going to get a ticket today. Well, I guess the dumb shit took my kindness for a sign of weakness and decides he's going to take a swing at me and try to jump on the bike and take off. So he takes a swing at me. I duck, block it, spin him around, grab him and go to toss him up against the barricade there to use that as leverage to handcuff him. But in my, shall we say, exuberance, I end up throwing him over the barricade. And he ends up landing in a big pile on the other side in the dirt. So then I had to run around the barricade, check on him, make sure he didn't get hurt. And he's okay. He's just shocked. So I handcuff him and pick him up, and I explain to him, well, now you've done it. Now you're going to get arrested for assault on a police officer, and your bike is going to get impounded. And you're going to get the ticket for riding in a restricted zone. Well, he gives me all this crap about, well, his daddy's an attorney, they're going to sue me, they're going to file complaints for excessive force, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, well, that's just fine, you know, you do what you got to do. Well, the kid being under 18, juvenile hall's not going to take it because all they take is murderers, assault with a deadly weapon, rapists. You know, they don't take any juveniles that are convicted of smaller, lesser crimes. We either have to take them back to the station and put them in a holding cell and wait for the parents to come get them, or take them back home. Well, I decided to be a nice guy, take him on home to his parents, leave the bike sitting there instead of having it towed, tell his daddy where the bike was at so he could go get it, so it would save him towing fees and storage fees, which I didn't have to do. And I get the kid home, and of course he's running his mouth off to daddy, and you know, that I beat him up and blah blah blah, and of course the dad's all pissed and all this crap, you know, and then I explained to dad, well, your son is being charged with assault on a police officer because he took a swing at me, and I was just protecting myself. So, you know, you do what you want to do. You want to file a complaint against me, that's fine. You want to try and sue me, that's fine. You know, but that's going to all come up in court when we go to juvenile court, and I tell the judge exactly what your son did. Well, you know, I parted not on all that good of terms because the dad was still pissed and he was going to go get the son's bike. And I left and I drove on back by and checked and make sure the bike was still sitting there where it was at, where we'd left it. I went about my business. At the end of the day, I let the sergeant know I had caught the kid, finally, and that I had arrested him for assault on a police officer, and that his dad was going to file a complaint against me. And he said, okay, we'll take care of it when it comes in. Well, as it turns out, no complaint ever got filed, and I never got called into court on it. So the only thing I can figure is Daddy, the lawyer, must have got the kid plea bargained out to something lesser or something. I don't know. Never found out what happened on it. Other than I didn't get a complaint filed and I didn't get sued and I didn't have to go to court. And I never had any more problems with that little dickhead out there riding around in the fire zone on his stupid motorbike. So, that is how you turn a simple ticket into an arrest. And all you guys that ride dirt bikes, I used to ride dirt bikes too. You know, there are plenty of places to ride without having to ride in restricted zones because of fire dangers or on private property, you know. So, if you're going to do that, you're taking the risk of getting caught. Don't blame the cops for it when you're breaking the law. It's not their fault. You did something wrong. I hope you liked my story. I know some of you aren't going to like it because, you know, that's just the way it is. But if you do, hit the like button, make a comment or two, and subscribe and come back again next week for another Throwback Thursday. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.